Hello and welcome to the Penno Channel for this match preview for Aston Villa versus Nottingham Forest in the Premier League. As always, I'm joined with my bro to go through this one and look ahead to potentially Villa's biggest match of the season. I know the last few weeks that's been repeated over and over again, but this could be, again, Villa's biggest game. Looking to try and get Champions League football, finish in the top five, which is all but certain due to the coefficient and how England have done in Europe. So it's a massive game. It reduces the gap to 6 points if Villa win. If Forest win, I think Villa will never get in touching distance of them. That will extend it to 12. So, as always, if you could please like the stream. It really helps us to progress. So, if you could really get the likes in, and also if you're new here, please do subscribe as well. We're looking to get to 1,000 subs. So, we're only 58 off. So, please do subscribe as well. And let us know your thoughts in the comments about this game. How big is the game for you? And what do you see happening as well? Bro, how you doing? Friday afternoon. You ready for this one tomorrow?
Yeah, man, looking forward to it. I think now the table's starting to take shape with Forest, Man City in those Champions League spots, with Chelsea there as well now. And then you got Newcastle and Villa that are just trying to somehow find a way to get in. And yeah, man, I just think this game is so massive. And it's two teams that are on good form. Like, both teams can't stop winning at the moment. I think it's 6 in a row for Villa. I think Forest have they won their last 3 or 4? So yeah. Looking forward to it, man. Looking forward to it. This is probably the most high level Villa Forest game that there's been in what must be like decades in terms of like the quality.
Let us know if there's any in the 80s that are of this level, but this is definitely right up there for sure. Yeah, as you said, bro, this week, midweek, I think, from 3rd to 7th, everyone won. Obviously, you had Bournemouth losing, Fulham losing as well, and Brentford and us beating Brighton. So it's created not so much of a gap to Fulham, maybe 3 points from us and Fulham, but Brighton are still in there with a chance. But if you're talking about 3rd to 7th currently, everyone won. So this is crunch time now. Chelsea got the result last night. City winning 2-0 against Leicester, and also Newcastle managed to scrape a result against Brentford and win that one as well. So this is massive in terms of that. And obviously, sides like Chelsea, Man City and Newcastle will be looking at this game with real interest, because it could determine if Villa are on their tail still, or if Forest extend their distance from those sides. Massive game. Going into this one then, bro, Villa, as you said, our form, it's looking green at the minute. It really is looking green. It's healthy form, good form, squad available. Only so far, this is before Unai's press conference, but today we know that Ross Barkley potentially won't make it still. Leon Bailey, we'll see where he's at. How are you feeling going into this one? And yeah, let's talk about Villa and how we're looking to approach it.
Yeah, the vibes are so good right now, because if you listen to what Unai is saying, he's saying he's so happy to have his full squad to utilize, and he can do different things tactically. He wanted to replicate the 2023 end of season. Last season, he admitted we were tired going into the end of that. Like, we were not match fit. We were leggy. There was a lack of energy around like Bodymore. And like, we saw that with the Olympiacos games, with the Brighton away, we lost 1-0. That was like proper abject performance. But this season, it feels like we're just peaking at the right time. Before our Champions League quarterfinal, before our FA Cup semi-final. And this focus on the league. Ramsey said the other day, even in pre-season, Emery was like, it doesn't matter what competition we're in, Premier League is the priority and always will be the priority. And we're starting to see it in our results in the league now, bro. So I think he'll be same again this Saturday, like, focus on winning this game. And it's such a tough opponent. Like Nottingham Forest, like the way they've been playing this season, like the compactness, their structure, their ability to just be so lethal on transition. And they've got players up front. Like, we're going to touch on it later, but Morgan Gibbs-White, Alanga, Hudson-Odoi, Chris Wood's been turned into like Messi this season as well in terms of his scoring rate. It's crazy. So yeah, it's going to be a big game. They've got a few injuries as well that we'll probably get into. So it might not be them at full strength, but they're still going to be like a big threat.
Yeah, bro. As you say, when you look back at that 4-1 defeat against Palace, it did really seem doom and gloom. And if you'd have said up to Forest would have won every single game we'd have played at that point, I wouldn't have believed that. I don't know how you would have felt at that as well, especially with the 2 away trips to Brentford and Brighton. They're not easy games in this league. We have good records there, but they're not easy games. And to get 6 points out of 6 from those two sets you on the right path. And now coming back to home, back to Villa Park, the record we do have here, it's got to supply you confidence. It definitely has to give you confidence in what we're capable of. As you said, do you think there'll be many changes with us in regard before we go on to Forest and touch on them? How do you reckon there'll be any changes with us in how we set up?
Yeah, I think Mings is going to probably come back into the back four. I thought Powell was really good against Brighton. Like, I watched some of that game back, and his passing was really, really top notch. Like, them fizz through balls into like Ramsey and Rodgers to receive. He looked comfortable at the back, playing it around, baiting Brighton's press. So, yeah, I really liked Powell's performance. But I think in that other game at the the City ground, Mings was supposed to start that game, and he was ill. So that's why Powell started. So I think Emery just prefers like the physicality of Mings from set pieces where Forest are dangerous as well. So yeah, I think Mings comes in for Powell. Do we see Disasi come in at right back with the threat of if Hudson-Odoi starts? I think Danilo started out on the left against Man United for Forest, but if maybe Hudson-Odoi starts, do we see us go defensive on the right side? And then does Maatsen get a game? Maatsen hasn't played in a while. I'm not sure. We'll see with that as well. Midfield, I think it will be Kamara Tillemans again. And then, this is the big question up front, because Rashford shines the most as a number 9 when there's gaps in behind. And Emery knew that. Emery knew Brighton would leave the gaps. Forest are completely different. They'll sit and they will be as structured as possible. Like, Nuno is not going to give us any space. Is that the game for Rashford to play as a striker? I don't personally see it. I don't know how you feel. So, yeah, I'm expecting Watkins to start up front. Rashford might start on the left, or it might be between him and Ramsey. You don't know. I think Rodgers will be the 10. And then, if Bailey's fit, and we know Emery loves Bailey on the right-hand side, does Bailey come in, or does he go more pragmatic and play McGinn there with Asensio maybe to come off the bench?
Yeah, I think you make some great points. Obviously, with the massive Champions League game coming up in midweek as well, with the game state and how Forest was set up in comparison to PSG, our transition players might not be starting this one as such, and they might be, resting for PSG, and we play a more possession-based game at home, and you'll see more of those players coming to the side, especially with Ollie Watkins playing up front, who can probably bring people into the game better from those positions. Just from that and touching this, how it leads into Forest and how obviously they've had an amazing season. Nuno's done an amazing job with them. Fantastic result for them midweek as well. If you did watch the game, Man United had a lot of the ball. Man United had some good chances within that game as well. I think their XG was 2 point something. Forest was 0.7, I think, for in that game. So, on chances created and big chances and positioning, Man United had the better of the play. But Forest, we know how they defend. We know that with Milenkovic, with Murillo, their box defending's top notch. Oleana, who is looking like who will miss the game tomorrow, is going to be a huge miss because he's had an outstanding season. And there's, you could say he's been the best right back in the Premier League. I wouldn't have no discrepancies with that. It was going to be interesting if Oleana is out, who I think will be a huge miss for him. It's interesting to see how they'll set up because I'm used to Forest. They play in that 4-2-3-1. Elliot Anderson had an amazing season again next to Ryan Yates, and we know what Ryan Yates is about. And they play with that three of Elanga, Gibbs-White, and yeah, exactly. And usually Hudson-Odoi, but obviously Danilo had to step in because Hudson-Odoi wasn't available. I think Hudson-Odoi will be back for the game tomorrow. Not sure on Quistwood. Potentially it's a one-you will start up again, and I've seen a one-you cause us problems at the City ground previously.
I've seen a one-you bully Villa before, so that ain't even like a downgrade in my eyes.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? Like he can play. Honestly, he can play. I think he scored in the 1-1 against Gerrard.
Yeah,
he scored that game.
He did. I think he did, yeah. And the 2-0, he absolutely bullied us that first half.
This is why I think Mings comes back in, man, to deal with a one-year. I think, yeah,
for sure. But what will be interesting with that is their shape. A number of times this season, Nuno's brought Morata into play and operated as a free at the back. Is that something you could see tomorrow? I think there's a huge possibility that is the case. Nico Williams probably finds himself on the right-hand side, or he remains on the left of a wing-back as a wing-back, and then either one of Elanga or Hudson-Odoi operates as a full-back, as a wing-back on the other side. Maybe Harry Toffolo. I know Harry Toffolo could potentially come in for them as well. Obviously, Alex Moreno can't play because the loan deal and us being his parent club. Do you think Nuno changes their shape for this one as well and potentially goes into a 3-5-2?
It's so interesting because have we seen Forest without Unai this season in the league? I can't actually
I can't
remember him being
remember.
out for too long or any reason. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. Yeah, I think you could be onto something with the change in shape. Like I really do. Yeah, it's gonna be so interesting to see, man. Because Forest like to play so narrow normally. Like if you look at their heat map and their average positions against Man United, he's literally like a straight line, bro. Like I'm so serious. Like they love that central play, especially on transition. So yeah, do they start with the three at the back, push their wing backs up, and change it up a bit? But yeah, I think Ole is a bit of an advantage Villa in the sense of how good he's been this season. Like he's been his footwork, his ability to just get up and down the pitch. Like he's top. He is top. So yeah, I think we have to take advantage of that if he is out. And could we see Len Rashford on that side, taking on his man 1v1 if it is a new guy that hasn't played as much football this season?
Yeah, so as you're saying, he's played 30 games this season, so he's played every game in the league. And I think this will be something different for Forest as well and Nuno in their setup. Yeah, I do think they'll go for it with the three, and then Nico Williams, because of his versatility, he'll play either left wing back or right wing back, and then one of those of Elanga or Hudson-Odoi, potentially Elanga as well. But he's such a threat going forward at the moment. Even Hudson-Odoi, but I could. Do you remember Hudson-Odoi operating there under Tuchel at Chelsea at times? Do you remember that back in the potentially? You know, he has a bit of experience playing that position, so
Yeah.
you could see Hudson-Odoi playing as the wing back. But yeah, I think Danilo went off as well. Was that due to injury midweek?
I think he was a he was what, 40th?
tactical.
It might have been then. If he was
Yeah,
40th,
yeah.
though, he was
Can't
40th. He
I
went
can't
off in the
remember.
40th.
Yeah,
But he's come
obviously,
back from injury himself, hasn't he? He had a massive
yeah.
injury start of the season, wasn't it? So
Yeah. Obviously, they've got players, you know, they can rely upon. They've got Jota Silva, they've got Dominguez, they've got, Ibrahim Sangare. You know how he was discussed and talked about. Obviously, he had that injury,
that
which kind of
was
set him back. But
every season we were linked to that guy.
exactly. So they have got players who could fill in those positions as well. So I think, from what I've heard of Forest fans and how they feel is they played 1-20 against Brighton. They just had a big game against Manchester United. They come into this thinking their energy might be sapped. Whereas with us, you could say we've had the ability to rotate options. We've got the squad. Preston was convincing. Brighton was convincing. Maybe we're not as tired as such. And that can work into our advantage. I think, don't be surprised if it's 0-0 at half time on the weekend. I would not be shocked by that either. Just as I stated previously about our style and how it seems that we've looked to keep games at 0-0 and use our squad and our freshness to overpower teams in the second half. And I think Forest, if they get a point from this, and what I've seen the consensus from Forest fans, they'll take that at this moment in time, because I think with the fixtures they have left this season, a lot of them consider this to be their toughest game. And a point here and then a few wins in others, they'll all but seal it. So
Yeah, and I just
yeah,
want to touch on their centre backs. Their centre backs this season, like Murillo and Milenkovic, have just been incredible. Start with Murillo, like on the ball, so good. His ability to carry, to go forward, defensively as well, especially in the ground rules. I think aerially he's not as strong, but in his ground rules, always wins his tackle. His positioning is good, and he's got a strike on him as well. Like we've seen a couple of games where, like, he was probably in Brazil. He was probably like a striker, and he was just probably like the sickest striker in Brazil, and then he comes to England and he slowly becomes a defender, but he's always got that in his locker. It's like how Marcelo just used to be able to do that stuff from like left back. It's crazy. So yeah, he's got a strike on him as well. And then Milenkovic, man, XG magnet, set threat.
boy,
My God,
boy.
all that fantasy players out there, man. If you've had Milenkovic in your team this season, you are winning. Like you are smiling, man, because he's been quality all season. He's been so consistent. And yeah, I need to start benching him, to be honest. he's a top player. And he's another one that we used to get linked with as well. I remember when he was at Fiorentina and he was a player there and he was getting a lot of noise in Serie A. So yeah, top player. So yeah, we've got to be on our A game to try and get past them. I think will I just be tasked with trying to drag them out of position with like Watkins running in behind? Will we see that type of movement? Will our joy come from set pieces? Who knows? Because they're good at defending set pieces as well, man. That's solid team, and that's just credit to Nuno. That's how he just has his team shaped up. And then the last player I want to get into, Morgan Gibbs-White, who this season has just been ridiculous. Like, we knew the levels of Gibbs-White, and it's almost like he's gone to like a new level this season as well. And I think it was so harsh originally, like he wasn't included in the England squad. And I think it was a couple of injuries. He finally got the call up in the end. So yeah, that was deserved for him as well. But yeah, on the counter attack, we've got to watch that because he's one of them players that can just receive the ball and play that first time pass in behind. And more often than not, the pass is on point.
Yeah, two players I want to shout out for me is Matt Sells. I didn't think he had that ability and was at that level when Forest signed him, but he's been outstanding this season. There's been some games where he's literally, kept the ball out the net, made some unbelievable saves. So him, but Elliot Anderson for me is the one who's really impressed with this year. I know Newcastle fans, I've got mates who are Newcastle fans, and they always raved about Elliot Anderson. They said he was the next one coming through. He had all the ability as such, and he has absolutely flourished from this move. He's a top baller, and he'll be in England squad soon. He's in the under-21s currently, but he'll be in England squad soon. It's his composure on the ball, his way he can progress the ball, his passing ability as well. He's the top player, man, and I think he's 21, is he? 21, 22? Again, that move has absolutely, been a top move, even if it was considered as PSR. The way in which it was exchanged between Forest and Newcastle, him as a player, he's a quality player, man. And they've really struck gold with Elliot Anderson, I think.
Yeah, I've seen people try and like narrow him down to like a draw winner. Like you're not watching how he's on the ball. Like he's
on the ball, he's class.
On the ball, he's top, man. Like he's crossing, he's passing, like his vision. He's a really good player, man.
Do you know who he reminds me of? He's not that level. But do you know who he reminds me of as a player? Steven Gerrard. He's not that level, but his all-round game. He can mix it. He can play. He can dribble with the ball. He's good on the ball. He can that's who he reminds me of. I'm not saying he's just Steven Gerrard at all, but just in terms of attributes, that's how he looks like and plays like for me.
And it's peak for Newcastle fans because they didn't even want to sell him. Like they did not want to sell this guy. No hard feelings. I think I even seen that he was at the final against Liverpool because he's a Newcastle fan. Like he was in the crowd watching that game. So yeah, like Forest won out of that exchange. Like Forest sold the keeper the other way for 30 million or whatever it was. Like the keeper that never played for Newcastle.
Yeah,
so I think Forest won the deal. And yeah, man, this is just gonna be a big game, man. But I'm confident. Villa can win. Like I'm so confident. Like the form that we're in, the football that we're playing, and like just the talent off the bench that we can bring on. Like these are game changers, man. Like this is what Unai's doing. I think you made a good point on the previous pod. I think maybe Unai is trying to keep it locked till half time, and then just bringing on these killers that just come on and just find a way to win the game. So a big game live on Sky. I think Sky probably done the right thing getting this game on TV because it's the most probably informed teams in the league outside of Liverpool, maybe in Arsenal.
Yeah. And bro, the 3-5-2 is just sticking with me because we used to struggle against. I know it's not the same players on field, but we used to struggle against Wolves. Nuno Wolves 3-5-2. We used to really struggle with that. So if he's got a game plan, we've had to set up against us and for us to try and break them down. It's going to be a long afternoon, and obviously it's a different manager in Unai and stuff, but it could become a long afternoon. And we found ourselves struggling at times playing against the three. Palace being a big, a side that really play that styling system, and we struggle against them at times. So he'll obviously have watched what he does with us playing against different shapes, and he'll adapt to make it as difficult as possible for us.
And he's just one manager of the month. He got decided like an hour ago. So
I hope he gets the curse. Hopefully it's the curse.
Is that even still a thing? I think people just say it nowadays, and they don't even. Hopefully the curse is still active.
Passing phrase. Yeah, facts. Anyway, bro, thanks for joining. Thank you all for watching as always. Again, if you could please it really helps us to get the video out there and helps to promote the channel as well. So please get the likes up and also subscribe if you're new here as well. We'll see you with a match reaction, potentially on the evening of the game, or if not, it will be out on Sunday. Bro, up the Villa. And yeah, man, enjoy your day. And tomorrow's a big one. Up the Villa.